Welcome back to SlashBack Cinema, the podcast where we dive into the VHS bins of the 70s and 80s to see what weird treasures were coughed up.
On today's episode, forget sharks, forget zombies. Today's monster is furry, fuzzy, and fatal.
We're talking about yacht parties gone wrong, questionable science experiments, and creature FX so terrible we're surprised the cast didn't die from laughter.
So grab your catnip, a lint roller, and check your life preserver, because today we're talking about 1987's Uninvited. You might have noticed a new voice in our intro. Lessa, do you want to introduce yourself? What connection do you have to SlashBack Cinema?
So my name is Lessa, and Brian is actually my dad. So that's my big connection.
So
Serious connection. Yeah.
Are you a fan of horror movies?
Some of them, but I haven't really been that into like older horror movies in the past. But I accidentally watched Uninvited with my friend when we were trying to watch a different horror movie by the name of Uninvited. And originally, I kind of thought the movie was a joke.
That's actually the reason why we're watching this movie is you accidentally saw this movie and you recommended that we talk about it on the podcast. So we thought we'd have you on to get your perspective.
So which movie were you trying to watch, Lessa?
We were trying to watch the one that has a like evil stepmother and two daughters. We watched the trailer for it, and then when we actually clicked on, I think it was on Tubi, it brought us to The Uninvited.
Lessa, was there any point in which you thought, wait, this is the wrong movie, let's turn it off and find the right movie? Or did you get so sucked into it, you thought, wait, what is this disaster?
It was kind of like when there's like a dumpster fire and you just like can't seem to make yourself look away.
And you know, I do feel like a proud father when my daughter started watching this horrible movie from 1987 and was like, Dad, oh my God, this movie is so bad. I thought of you instantly. So maybe I've done some good parenting over here, Shawnee.
All right. So we normally start off with a plot overview. Ryan, you want to tell us what this dumpster fire is about?
Absolutely. Uninvited from 1987, or some places say 1988, is about this sketchy multimillionaire who decides he's heading to the Cayman Islands due to some of his shady business investments. And a group of spring breakers sort of tag along. Originally, he's invited two girls, and then they bring their friends and decide to also bring a cat, which you would think a sketchy multimillionaire would be like, hell no, you're not getting on the boat. But anyway, he invites them all into this boat, and the trip suddenly takes a turn to the deadly side of the equation, when the seemingly normal house cat begins killing everyone because it actually hosts a grotesque mutant from a genetic lab experiment gone horribly wrong. So there's a lot of layers to this. This isn't just about a crazy cat. You know, you got a multi-billionaire. You got spring breakers. They've really layered in a lot of elements to this fine piece of cinema.
It's like Lifestyle Solution Famous plus Gremlins plus a dumpster fire all mixed together to make one movie.
And a little bit of sci-fi thrown in there, for a little spice.
Now, this movie was directed by Greydon Clark. Have you ever come across any of his other movies?
You know, the name was not ringing a bell, but then when I went into IMDb and looked at his history and his film credits, he's done a lot of bad movies. The one movie that stood out to me that he had done that I was aware of it looked like a Porky's knockoff called Joysticks from the early 80s, about like an arcade themed movie that just seemed extremely 80s and really badly done. But did you know him?
I never heard of him, but he's got movies like 1977's Satan's Cheerleaders and 1975's Psychic Killer. I feel like Greydon Clark is going to be in our future, Ryan. I feel like we're going to be spending more time with this guy.
I did read a quote from the guy that like his measure of success was if he made a movie that enabled him to make another movie. So that's a pretty low bar. And, I think we see that show up in this film.
I mean, yeah, he was successful at making these, I was going to say B movie, but it's more like a C movie. So let's talk about, I feel like the movie has three parts. Part one is just getting to the boat. And that part of the movie, I was kind of bored and a little confused. Like none of these people kind of knew each other. I feel like the effort that had to be put, the effort that went into trying to explain how this mob boss guy and his two henchmen plus these 2 teenage girls, plus these 3 guys on spring break, and this cat all end up on a yacht together, and none of them know each other. I was having a hard time following it, so I was not immediately gripped. But the second part really picked up for me. So let's talk about part 1, the first part of the movie when they're getting to the yacht. Anything stand out to you about that part of the movie?
I think that the one thing you mentioned, Les, was the outfits.
Yeah. Like, they were completely just, like, way out there, especially for going to, like, a really nice dinner, just, like, wow.
How would you describe their outfits, Lessa?
Um, I think kinda like what an old guy would want, like, teenage girls to wear, like, in the 80s.
That's a great
Yeah.
description, yes. Yeah, and they're not the brightest. I mean, what stood out to me about them is, holy cow, the bad acting. Like, I felt like these people were not really selling their character, and there was just a lot of moments of
Tell
yikes.
Martin what you told me.
Well, it all happened really fast. I don't know, it didn't look like the cat, but it had to be. I don't know. His face was distorted or something. I don't know. I mean, it sounds crazy. I don't know. Did it look like a normal cat to you before, Suzanne? Of course. It's just a cat.
What I found remarkable about this movie, it took me a while to understand. So it's the opening scene is like in a science lab, and they're doing experiments on this cat, and then the cat, a like creature crawls out of the cat's mouth, then it goes crazy and kills people, and then it just crawls back inside the cat. But the creature, am I wrong in saying that the creature that comes out of the cat at a certain point in the movie seems bigger than the cat he crawled out of?
I was thinking that too, like, the very last scene, the cat is just, like, it looks like it's so much smaller, and then the creature comes out, and it's, like, twice the size of the cat.
I think it was varying sizes based on what was going on, and also early in the film, I didn't realize it came out of the cat. Like, I just thought it was like sort of like alien style, like kind of like hanging out and getting people that way. But later in the film, they do reveal that it sort of sheds the its cat skin and is this other creature. Which you're right, he seems to scale up and down based on the scene and the situation.
Yeah, and so the middle part of this movie, that's where the gold is. That's that's where I feel like this movie really shone, because it then just becomes, Cat slowly starts to take out each person on the boat. Kind of like, Ridley Scott Alien style, like, it's like they're on this
Totally,
yacht in the
yeah.
middle of the water, and, the cat is, releasing his inner evil cat who would go out and cause mayhem and then climb back inside the regular cat. So here's the next thing I wanna ask you 2 about. I was for a moment puzzled that, okay, there are these 2 girls and there are these 3 guys. So the math on that doesn't work because I know 80s movies, I know that there's going to be some hookups happening here between these girls and guys. And I
Right,
thought,
right.
what about the poor guy that's going to be left out? Well, it turns out the movie has a little surprise. There's a captain of this ship who also is an attractive young woman who doesn't I was not sure about her boating experience. She also looks like a teenager, roughly the same age as the other 2. And so now there's 3 young women on this boat and 3 young men, and then they all kind of partner off.
You know, they really tried to develop her character with a backstory because apparently there was something with her father being the captain of the boat, and it's unclear. You know, did he die? Like, was he offed by the billionaire guy? But anyway, now by default she's the captain on the boat. But you're right, her boating experience seems questionable. Although she seems to know what she's doing. She can't get the boat started, but you know, eh.
So, how is my captain this morning?
It'd be a lot better if we hadn't lost an entire crew.
You mean you still haven't replaced them?
Walter, do you know what time it is? Besides, if you didn't treat them like slaves, we wouldn't have to replace them.
Okay.
And so, Les, what did you think about like the pairing off? Did you feel like there was any actual these actors? Do you feel like there was any connection between them? Did you like buy any of their romantic relationships?
I think the only one that was really, like, developed was the relationship between the captain and the guy with, like, the mustache.
Yeah.
But I was also kind of confused on how he ended up with the other 2 guys because he kinda seemed like the polar opposite of them.
Oh, the biologist, the smart guy.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Because he was
biologist.
smart. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, he is like a MacGyver who has knowledge of science and biology and chemistry. and he on the boat he builds a microscope.
Yeah, out of a sextant. She's like,
Yes.
that's used for navigating. He's like, no problem. I'm a biologist.
Suzanne may be onto something. There's a great deal of experimentation on lab animals. Maybe somehow this cat system has got some type of experimental chemical in it.
Okay, now so we have to get into these deaths because
Favorite
it's hard.
scenes.
It's hard
Yes.
to pick. Lessa, do you have like a favorite scene in the movie or a favorite death?
Okay, I think that my favorite, it's kind of like tied between two, but like the scene where the boy with the broken arm and like one of the girls are making out, and then all of a sudden they like look over and they realize that the cat's eating his arm because he's lost all feeling in his arm. And then all of a sudden they're like running overboard and like they like fall into the water. And I just don't understand why they didn't at least try and swim. Like they fell off the boat and they just sank like rocks. Like that that might be my favorite.
That was at the top of my list as well.
That's
Yes.
some quality cinema right there.
I was confused by the fact that he's making out with the girl, and then he says his arm is numb, and so she pulls back the blanket, and it turns out the cat has eaten his fingers. But he hadn't realized the cat had eaten his fingers until after the cat had eaten his fingers.
I love to have seen the script for this before they shot this scene. And then what happens next? Well, yeah, the cat eats his fingers, and he doesn't know it.
So yes, Les, I 100% agree with you. That might be number one scene in the movie. Kind of romantic scene right into guy's fingers are eaten by an evil cat. Great.
Doesn't get better than that. All right, what else you got, Lessa? Scene number 2.
Well, what's your favorite scene, Dad? Because I think we had a similar one.
There were a couple. I had 3. They're all great for different reasons. Maybe I'll just go with the death of Corey. So this is the blonde-haired, money hungry 20-something, and he goes down to the lower portion of the boat. So he's like in the mechanical room, and the cat shows up, and it's doing its like I'm a demon cat thing, and running around scaring him. And he pulls out his gun. He just starts shooting all over the place. Well, he shoots the boiler. The boiler explodes, and it's unclear if the cat attacked him or he's damaged from the boiler. The reason I love this scene so much was this is where the first time you saw the mutant cat go back into the cat body.
Yes.
And so they have this little shot of like the mutant cat crawling back over, and it's got a little mutant claw hand, and it reaches in and grabs the cat's mouth and opens it wide enough, and then it crawls back inside of the cat. And I was like, oh, that's what's going on with this monster. That was the first time I really understood that, it's not inside the cat. It can be its own thing, and that's like its cat costume.
Right.
So, that was a nice moment of clarity and clarification during this movie.
It is like a Russian nesting doll of cat. Because the thing that crawls out of the cat also kind of looks like a cat. It looks like an evil cat.
I feel like that moment really, the special effects were shining through, though, with the little cat hand opening up the mouth. I was like, eep, here I go.
There's one more death I want to ask you both about.
Yeah, what do you got? What do you got, Shawnee?
Because I wanted you to help me understand it. So one of those 2 girls, but I don't know which one it was, goes to look for the cat, and then I don't know how to explain this. She explodes. She like looks at the cat, and then her face kind of boils, and then she just dies. The cat has not even touched her. What happens in that scene?
So there was another layer to the cat. And this was really confusing, but apparently if the cat like went near or touched the food became poison.
Oh.
So then they've got this whole thing where like they're rationing the food that hasn't been contaminated by the cat.
Mm-hmm.
Suzanne's gone a little bit off the rails there, and she's really hungry. So she sneaks into the locked room, and she has that little piece of bread. And apparently that was the poison bread. And then, of course, the cat's in there and witnesses her. Apparently, like, the cat, like, you would be infected by the cat germs or whatever.
Yeah.
And so she, like, dies from the inside from eating the poisoned bread. So one thing I wanted to call out is my favorite scene in this film is the ending.
Okay, wait, we got to set it up. So it's Rachel and Martin. Where are they? Set it up.
So Rachel again is the boat captain, and Martin is our biologist, MacGyver guy.
Yeah.
They've escaped onto the lifeboat. It's just the 2 of them with a briefcase of money also. And so it's just cutting to them. They're on the boat, like, oh my God, we made it. And we've got millions of dollars. He's like, you can buy a boat. And she's like, you can become a psychologist. I mean, biologist. Like, they flubbed the line there, which is hilarious. And then the boat's sinking, the yacht's sinking in the background. And that's like the toy model in the tub. And you're like, oh, it's going to have a happy ending, but it's a horror movie. So mutant cat comes flying out of nowhere and tries to jump onto Martin there and rip his face off. Well, they proceed. She knocks him off, and the boat goes in the water. And then they're like, "Oh God, we've survived. It's a happy ending." And then he's like, "Look out! Here he comes again." The cat. They just repeat the scene. The cat jumps back out. It's on his face. They knock it into the water.
Yeah, this is the cast. They're just hurling a stuffed animal at these two people on a boat, and they're trying to dodge it. It is. This might be the best scene in the movie.
And then I forget which of them says this, but they're like, he's going to keep coming back because he needs a floating object. So he grabs the briefcase full of money, and then she stops him. Like, I really appreciated this moment. And she takes all the cash out, throws the briefcase in. The mutant cat grabs on top of the briefcase and is like, I'm a mutant evil cat, and like floats off into the distance.
Yeah, so the logic that the biologist comes up with is the reason the cat keeps attacking them is because they're on a boat. And if they could just throw something into the water that floats, the cat will get on that instead. And I'll be damned if it doesn't work. But what I love about that logic is they then throw the briefcase that they've emptied, and then you see the monster cat just sitting on top of the briefcase looking at them. That shot in the movie is worth the entire movie. It is remarkable.
He's kind of like sad, like that he's been left alone, and he just has this like grumpy cat face as he
yes,
goes into the distance.
This is a wet evil cat puppet sitting on a briefcase floating into the ocean.
They also they could have ended the movie there, but they had to go on to the 80s ending where the two of them are suddenly in customs office and maybe the Cayman Islands, and they've got a duffel bag which you assume is full of the money, and they're sort of joking with the customs guy ha ha ha, and don't open that bag, and then somehow they sneak out with the bag of money, happy ending. But then they cut to a scene on the beach, and then there's the briefcase, and it's this beautiful kind of beach, and then you see this little boy walk up and he sees the cat and he's like, oh, here, kitty, picks up the cat, and then they stop it. And then it's the camera zooms in on the boy's face, and then closer and closer. The end.
And then nothing happens. Yes.
I also like how it's just a completely different cat. At the end.
Oh yeah, the black cat, right?
Yeah, I was confused by that. The little boy picks up a cat, and it doesn't look like the cat we've been watching the entire movie.
It's because it's like a hermit crab. He found a new shell. He found a new cat bag skin to crawl into. That's
actually pretty good. I don't mean to flex here, but I did figure out that the evil cat was crawling in and out of the other cat. Sorry, Ryan. I picked up on that earlier than you did.
Well, that's why we call you Dr. Luft.
Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Luft.
And so what I thought was going to happen in the movie is the evil cat was going to crawl into other things like people. Because of the movie Alien, right? When they're on the first Ridley Scott movie, they're on the spaceship and there's this alien creature. And part of the plot is alien goes inside your body and then bursts out of your body. So I thought this movie seems like it's inspired by that to some degree.
Well, I think he was trying to tap into that with if you ate the poisoned food or the cat scratched you, you would see people bubble up and die because the cat infection was inside of you. But yeah, it's not quite the same effect as Ridley Scott's Alien.
It's not quite the same effect.
Not quite.
Just a shade worse.
It just missed the mark by a bit, just a tiny bit. Yeah.
Well, so that seems like a good segue because we normally do stabby scores. I feel like we should do furball. What do cats cough up again? Hairballs?
Hairballs or cat scratches. That's another way to frame this up. So what do you think, Lessa? What should we categorize this as?
Cat scratch.
Cat
All
scratch.
Right.
Okay.
How many out of 5? Lessa? How many cat scratches would you give this movie?
God, I feel like maybe 2 cat scratches.
Ouch!
I don't think there was a single point in the movie where I felt genuine fear. I think it was more just, it was really entertaining to watch.
What do you think, Ryan? How many cat scratches out of 5?
Watching this film, I watched it through once and had an opinion, and then I went back to watch different scenes, just to kind of soak in and make sure I had my facts accurate, because accuracy is really important on this podcast. And my takeaway is this movie is so bad it's good. It circles
Yes.
around on itself. So I found it highly enjoyable, even though it's a god awful movie. I'm giving this 3 cat scratches out of 5. It's pure 80s cheese. Effects so terrible. They're actually entertaining. The vibe is really peak VHS, and it's a horrible piece of cinema that is so bad it's good. Where are you at, Johnny?
This is definitely why we've been friends all these years. Yes. I really puzzled over my score because is this a good movie? No, it's a terrible, terrible movie. On the other hand, parts of it were, I was laughing so hard. It was so entertaining that I might actually watch it again. And so because of that, I'm giving it 3.5 cat scratches.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Bravo.
I completely agree that it is one of those, it's so bad it's good. It's like it starts off like in part 1 where it just seems like a bad movie, but then the more you watch it, the more you realize, oh, this is an incredibly entertaining, horrible movie where people do ridiculous things, where people are saying lines that they've never seen before, apparently, and they don't know why they're saying them.
Genetic laboratory. This must be a lab animal. Must have gotten away.
You mean they're gonna cut it up and experiment on it?
No, not necessarily. But
Where every single special effect is horrible, nothing is frightening, and actual plot barely makes any sense. And yet somehow I couldn't take my eyes off of it.
Yeah, dumpster fire. You're right, Lessa.
Absolutely.
That was a good summary.
Fire.
Yeah. This episode of SlashBack Cinema brought to you by Meow Mix. Consider sponsoring us at slashbackcinema.com.
Okay, so I have a surprise for you two. Now, so we finished the main part of the podcast, but I have brought back the trivia. So Ryan and Lessa,
Shall we play a game?
Why, yes, I would. Lessa, how are you feeling about this?
I feel amazing. I'm really ready.
I appreciate the confidence. You're each going to get 6 questions.
Oh,
So Lessa, you have your own questions, and Ryan, you have your own questions.
Wow. Whew. You going deep.
Half of the questions are about things that happened the year you were born, Ryan, 1972. And half the questions are things in the year you were born, Lessa, which I was told was 2008. Is that correct?
yes.
Okay.
All right.
So Ryan, you are going to answer the questions about 72.
I'm ready.
And then I have a comparable question about 2008. So Ryan, you will go first.
Okay, lay it on me.
Question number 1 is about politics. Ryan, who was president of the United States in 1972? Was it Lyndon Johnson, Gerald Ford, or Richard Nixon?
Oh, goddamn. I'm going to go Ford.
It was actually Richard Nixon.
Was it Nixon? Oh,
Yes.
man. All right.
Lessa, who was president of the United States in 2008? Your choices are Barack Obama, George W. Bush, or Bill Clinton.
Wait, like who got elected?
No, who actually was running the country in the year 2008, like from January to December? Your choices are Barack Obama, George W. Bush, or Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton.
It was actually George W. Bush. It's not easy. You know what? It's easy to be smug if you were alive in 2008.
Yeah, come on.
If it's not your year,
Come on.
then when you have to do the
Right.
year you were born, not quite as easy.
Digging back into the past. Yeah.
All right. So Apple doesn't fall far. We did not do well with politics, but luckily we're moving on to a different category.
Okay.
And I want to stress this one. I'm not expecting you to know the answer to this question, but maybe you could logically figure it out, but no pressure. Ryan,
Okay.
what was the #1 song in America in the year 1972? Here are your 3 choices. Roberta Flack's The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face, Love Will Keep Us Together by Captain and Tennille, or Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel. Which one of those 3 songs was #1 in 72? The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face, Love Will Keep Us Together, or Bridge Over Troubled Water?
I'm just going with vibes here. Love Will Keep Us Together.
That actually came out in 75. 1972 was The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face.
Oh, wow.
All right, Leslie, what was the #1 song in America in 2008? Here are your 3 choices. Crazy by Gnarls Barkley, California Girls by Katy Perry, or Low by Flo Rida.
I feel like it has to be California Girls.
California Girls came out in 2010. It was Low by Flo Rida.
Oh,
So right now, I'm just going to say tie score.
Troy Miller's going down in flames.
Question number 3 is about movies.
All right.
Ryan, what was the highest grossing movie of 1972? Your three, and again, only one of these movies came out in 1972. Your choices are The Exorcist by William Friedkin, The Godfather by Francis Ford Coppola, and Jaws by Steven Spielberg.
Oh, man, I feel like Jaws came out later. And so that drives me to, I'm going to go Godfather.
It was The Godfather.
Oh, yes!
Oh no.
On the board. All right, Lessa, same question. What is the highest grossing film of 2008? Here are your 3 choices. The Dark Knight by Christopher Nolan, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, and Kung Fu Panda.
Harry Potter.
It was actually The Dark Knight by Christopher Nolan, which I thought was really surprising. Also, check out I feel like the 70s are killing it with The Exorcist, The Godfather, and Jaws. I feel like if you put those 3 movies against The Dark Knight, Harry Potter, and the Deathly Hallows and Kung Fu Panda, I don't know. I feel like the 70s are really showing up. What do you
It's
think?
hard to top Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Next category, television. Right now, the score is 1-0. We're on our 4th question. Ryan, what was the number 1 TV show in 1972? Was it MASH? Was it Marcus Welby, MD? Or was it All in the Family?
It's either MASH or All in the Family, but man, I feel like MASH was still running. I feel like that ended in like 82 or 83 or 4, and that was a 10-year run. I'm going to go All in the Family.
All in the Family is correct.
Yes!
No.
MASH actually came out in 72, which I was blown away by because I used to watch that show. And
Yeah.
you're right. It was just on the air for like a decade. So,
Yeah.
Wow. Lessa.
Okay.
I feel the same way about the TV examples as the movie examples. I feel like the 70s are really kicking ass in terms of quality. But Lessa, what was the number 1 TV show in 2008? Here are your 3 choices. CSI, American Idol, or House.
American Idol.
American Idol is correct.
Lesson on the board. Woo!
American Idol was like the number 1 show the year before and the year after. It's
Yeah.
like crazy how popular that show has been. I don't know. Are you either of you fans of American Idol? Do you watch it?
No. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
really.
I know. I guess I'm familiar with it. I did not realize it was the cultural juggernaut that it is.
Although I hear there's the next season they're featuring a mutant cat as one of the judges, so I'm tuning in.
Oh, I would watch every episode of that.
Yes.
All right. Here's last 2 questions. The next question is about culture. Ryan, what was the number 1 most popular girl's name in 1972? Like the most common name people would name their babies in the year 1972. Your choices are Ava, Chloe, or Jennifer.
That would be Jennifer.
Jennifer is correct. Yes. Well done, Ryan. Lessa, what was the most popular girl's name in 2008? Here are your choices. Kimberly, Emma, or Heather. Number 1 most popular girl's name is?
Emma.
Emma is correct.
Oh, wow. Let's turn up the heat.
Yes. The wrong answers, I reversed them so that Jennifer, Kimberly, and Heather were all 3 popular 1972 names, and Emma, Chloe, and Ava were all popular 2008 names. So when you see the whole list, you're like, wow, the 1972 names are all these. It's Ryan, if you think about like kids you went to school with, it was a lot of Jennifers and Kimberlys and Heathers. And Lessa, you probably know Emmas and Chloes and Avas, right?
Totally.
All right, the score is now 3-2. So Ryan, you're ahead, but it's anyone's game with the final question.
Oh, final question. All right. Whew.
The final question, I had to slightly change your questions, as you'll see, but here we go. Ryan, what was the most popular arcade game that debuted in 1972? Here are your 3 choices. Pong, Asteroids, or Breakout.
72. Read them one more time.
Yes, most popular arcade game and it debuted in 1972. Pong, Asteroids, or Breakout?
Pong.
Pong is correct. Ryan with 4 right answers.
Yes.
Lessa, at this point, you can't win, but at least you can show. You can get a silver medal. What was the best-selling video game console in 2008? Which console sold the most of the box? Was it the Xbox 360? Was it the PlayStation 3? Or was it the Nintendo Wii?
I feel like everyone had a Nintendo Wii.
Everyone did have a Nintendo Wii. And in fact, the Nintendo Wii sold more boxes than the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 combined.
Oh my god.
It's like Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 sold about 11 million units each, and Nintendo Wii by itself sold 26 million units. So our final score, I feel, you know what, there's no losers here today. Not bad at all. The final score, Lessa, is 3, and Ryan, you got 4. Congratulations, Ryan. Do you feel proud to have beaten and humiliated your family in this contest?
I feel like we both showed up. I was getting pretty nervous early on in this quiz that this was a house going down in flames, but respectable performance all across the board.
You really turned it around. So before we do our outro, let me just say we've had 2 people in the last month go to our show notes and throw us a couple of bucks. There's a very easy way to do that. We need to give a shout out to Paula and Eric in Arizona. And we need to give a shout out to Aura in Maryland. She was actually on an earlier podcast episode. She did one of these quizzes.
Yeah, click that link. Drop us a few bucks. Every little bit helps. And we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Paula and Eric and Aura. Helps pay for the software and helps pay for the bandwidth to keep our podcast up and running. So we really appreciate it. That wraps up another trip down memory lane. Hopefully you enjoyed Uninvited as much as we did.
If you want to support SlashBack Cinema, please subscribe to our feed and give us a 5-star review. It helps new people find the show.
Lessa, have you given us a 5-star review?
Yes, of course.
Good answer.
Excellent.
And if you look forward to each episode of SlashBack Cinema, check out the show notes, click support the show.
And most importantly, we do want to hear from you if you've got a favorite memory from the 70s or 80s, a classic movie you'd love for us to dissect. Drop us a line at slashbackcinema.com.
Because your suggestions keep the conversation alive.